Today is Friday, May 5th. I'm going to let you watch this video while I rant. And boy, yeah, the flame wheel used to be set to the highest velocities possible, so it really jumped up. This is a flight from September 30th, 2014. It's the fifth flight of five. I started out in the yard at the old house. This is not where we live now. This is where we used to live. On the first flight, I just went up and went over to the river. Some of you are going to find that humorous, especially my Marine shipmate. And came back home. There's no video transmitter on this. This is just a GoPro on the flame wheel recording during the flight. That's all it is. So one of five, I went to the river, turned around, and came back. For two of five, down on the left, down the river, you can see kind of cars moving down there. That's an interstate, Interstate 26. This is also almost in the flight control zone of the Asheville Regional Airport. So a lot of things going on back in 2014. I was well below any kind of airplanes and outside of the 5 miles by about quarter of a mile. On the second flight of five, I went about a third of the way down to the interstate. On the third of five, I went about 2/3 of the way to the interstate and back. On the fourth flight of five, I went about 3/4 of the way down the interstate towards the interstate, which you can see me turning towards the interstate here in the fifth flight and back. And on this flight, I went all the way to the interstate, but I would not cross it. I still would not. If I were flying there right now, I would probably go under the interstate if I wanted to get on the other side of it. I did cross the 5-lane highway. Well, it's completely legal right now, as long as you're moving across the highway, you don't stop above it. So after doing the first 4 flights and just proving the distance, this one was the full flight out, full flight back, very late in the day. You can see the props in it. I had not got the jello out of the flame wheel at this time. This was just the beginning of me starting to put any kind of a camera on it. So we're going to run out to the interstate. We're going to turn around and come back. When we do, it's late in the day, and the props being in view starts causing bad strobing. Flying into the sun causes the camera to close down and darken the video, but that's neither here nor there. So while the rest of this flight from 2014 finishes, I'll tell you what's been going on with me for the past few weeks. I developed pancreatitis. No, not from drinking. From Ozempic. Just my doctors OD'd me on it, basically. Just really messed me up. It was one of the most painful things I have ever gone through. I had 2 arteries 100% blocked, 190 when I had my heart attack in 2001, and it was nowhere near as painful as the pancreatitis. So I just have not felt like doing anything. I quit taking the Ozempic. I started recovering. I actually went to the doctor yesterday, and I'm back on the Ozempic. which hopefully will get my blood sugar under control. That's another reason I had just felt terrible the last few weeks. I realized today it's only been since the 20th of April. It's only been like 2 weeks. It seems like a month or more of not doing any videos or not doing any work on my models and stuff to me. When you're in bad pain, time passes very, very, very slowly. We think, I no longer test positive for pancreatitis. And I'm back on the lowest dose of Ozempic to try to get my blood sugar back under control because I'm getting ready to go on some hellacious vacations soon because my wife is retiring the end of June. The end of this month, we've got to start using some of her use and lose days. We're going to go to the beach. We're going to go to Disney. Who knows where else. She just has days she has to use or lose before she retires. The end of June. So I have just felt terrible, terrible, terrible. But I have been doing a few things. Mostly just kind of theoretical things, working on software and stuff. I have not done much on the little Evoke, I guess it's called, 5-inch. It's ready for tuning. I still haven't done much on that. That'll be my next video when I get started up here. You can see the strobing starting to come in because of the angle of the sun and the props being in view on the flame wheel. It had 12-inch props on it then, so they were really hard to keep out of the view the way it works. And I've got to finish up the Sky Hunter. I'll show you in a second. I bought a little Meteor 75 to try to just fly around the house when I didn't feel good, just for fun. I've bought another set of goggles. I'll show you here in a second. And I bought a remote ID module, which I'll show you. This is approaching the house again here. I didn't have telemetry or a video connection to any kind of video transmitter on the flame wheel at this time, so it went out about 2 miles, I guess, and I did not see it. Again, couldn't see it at all for 8 minutes or more. And it sure was nice when it showed up over the tree line coming back across the 5-lane and getting ready to come down at the house. But I had done, right now it's just approaching the power lines that were across the road from the old house. So there was a kind of a anxious 8 minutes or more, 9 minutes, until I physically saw it again, even though I had done 4 flights before this, down to the river and back, down to the river, turn out the river, go a third of the way out, back, go halfway out, back, go 3/4 of the way out and back. I just wasn't sure the battery was going to last. This was some of my first experimentations. And like I say, I hadn't worked on balancing the props or anything to get the jello out. So there it is. It finally is getting ready to do its descent. Going to be a lot of flopping around on the descent. Like I say, all my velocities were high. Back then I thought setting those velocities as high as possible and letting it fly around as fast as possible was cool. I've got a different attitude about that now. This is the old house. The neighbor had a camper behind us. People lived in the garage apartment behind us, but this is the old house in Asheville. And me, as a much skinnier person about 8 years ago. So here it is coming in for a landing. Me grinning. It came back. Yeah, well, I wasn't too sure about it. There it is, back. So there's been a lot going on with the flame wheel for years. Now then, about 3 days after the flight out to the interstate, I put a 1.2 video transmitter and a flight camera on the flame wheel. I forgot I even did this. I thought I had never flown with a video transmitter till recently, but I guess this proves I had. And actually, that's not the flame wheel. I can see the shadow on the ground. That is the honey badger. Man. Anyway, I just thought I'd show some of this video. I was talking to you about my reasons for kind of disappearing there for a while. I mean, boy, I can't tell you how painful it's been. But like I say, recovery's underway. So let me show you just a few other things that are going on. Like I said, I bought this little Meteor 75 that let me do some things in the house when I was just really not even feeling like coming downstairs to the workbench. I'll have some more videos on this. It's a Crossfire RC receiver, but it's got walk snail in it, so it's fully digital. So far I'm having fun with it. Need to get it outside. I'm also still seeing I just don't really like goggles. But I did buy these Fat Shark HD Dominator goggles, Recon HD I guess they are. And they're completely compatible with the walk snail, only with the walk snail. I'm still working on getting them working so I can get to doing things. So I haven't been completely sedate. Just didn't feel like doing videos. When you've got pancreatitis, there's a lot of nausea associated. I also bought, there comes that dang dehumidifier again, this smartphone gimbal, because all my videos were getting really shaky trying to handhold stuff. So I've got this now to try to make my handheld videos much less shaky. I don't think anybody really needs to learn much about that, but I'm trying to improve things around here. It's going to take another week or so before I get totally back into pink. And let me show you the last thing I've got going on. This is a little remote ID module I bought to play with. Got it from Czechoslovakia. Now, the FAA said they were going to be available for $39 to $49 when they started saying that we had to have them, right? Well, up until I found this one, I've only found them for $300. This one is very small. I think it costs $79. I'll put a link to it in the description. But I'm going to start playing with it. This one has a built-in antenna rather than having to have a secondary antenna. So this one is under $100. Goes in the path of your telemetry radios. If you got a output to a telemetry radio right here, or if you got between the flight controller and a telemetry radio, you just put this right in the middle of it. Now this one is kind of strange. It doesn't have the ability to send the GPS location of the pilot. So I don't know what I'm going to say to the FAA when they go, that one's not completely compliant. Oh, really? So we'll be looking at that one. But gives me something that was inexpensive enough to start playing with remote ID. I still haven't decided if I'm going to fly Outlaw. I still don't think it's going to be ready in September. The FAA's going to be ready in September. I think because there are no modules that they promised to be available for $39 to $49, that they're going to have to extend that. But we'll see. This just gives me something to play with in the meantime. And then let me show you one other thing that's kind of been holding us up from doing much around here. This is what greeted us April 30th and reappeared for 2 or 3 days in the last 3 or 4. This is just the 5th, but about 2 days of May were like this, so that's another reason I haven't been out doing things. If it weren't snowing like this, then the wind has been utterly crazy around here. It's kind of calmed down today, made me want to go flying. That's probably what spurred me on, besides the kind comments from you people that's been missing my videos. All of that spurred me on to at least tell you what's going on. I don't feel well still, but I'm working on it. So that's the update for today. Thank you guys so much.